The conversation between Stephen Bartlett and James Nestor dives into the idea of breathing as a fundamental but often neglected aspect of health. Nestor, an international bestseller on breathing techniques, deeply explores the concept of breathing and its significance to overall physicality and wellness. According to him, 99% of people breathe dysfunctionally, often oblivious to the damage they are inflicting on their bodies. Damage that contributes to a range of health issues like diabetes, asthma, autoimmune conditions, and even ADHD. He emphasizes the importance of right breathing, particularly during sleep, given the insidious effects of bad habits. Nestor's journey to understanding breath began when, despite his active and healthy lifestyle, he suffered breathing problems. Diverse activities, including surfing in San Francisco and attendance in breathwork classes, unveiled the profound impact of improved breathing habits on his health and athletic performance. He realized the importance of consciously controlling breathing to elicit better bodily effects and counter the unhealthy habits fostered by modern lifestyles, which, as he suggests, are making us sick. The conversation also touches on the less discussed role of facial structure in breathing. According to Nestor, our ability to breathe healthily has been impaired by changes in our facial structure over the past few hundred years. He discusses outcomes of poor breathing, including the onset of diseases like diabetes, which can be triggered by compromised breathing during sleep. He accentuates, you can eat all the right foods, you can sleep 8 hours a night, you can exercise all you want. If you are not breathing right, you will always be sick. The discussion also recounts Nestor's self-experiment at Stanford, where he decided to test nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. Despite grudgingly paying for the experiment from his own pocket, as it lacked funding, Nestor was driven by his thirst for knowledge and understanding of the human body's breathing mechanisms. In this part of the interview, Bartlett and Nestor shed light on an experiment executed by Nestor, where he consciously plugged his nose for 10 days to breathe solely through his mouth, followed by a 10-day period of nasal breathing. The daily routine during both of these phases remained the same. However, the experiences and the impact on their bodies were drastically different. As Nestor recalls, during the mouth breathing phase, there was immense discomfort and it progressively caused severe sleep disorders, exhaustion, and even inflammation. This, he remarks, is an alarming reality for many individuals unaware of their improper breathing habits. Nestor further discusses how, despite being healthy and maintaining a fitness regime, a majority of individuals breathe incorrectly. His research and opinions derived from expert respiratory therapists and elite trainers of Olympians suggest that approximately 95 to 99% of people have dysfunctional breathing patterns to some extent, significantly impacting their overall health. Our bodily posture, he suggests, directly influences breathing. For instance, the typical seated posture in modern work cultures can inhibit healthy breathing. The diaphragm, which aids in breathing, struggles to function optimally in an unhealthy posture. Nestor equates diaphragmatic breathing to a second heart due to its indirect control over blood flow and constant underlying movement. The conversation takes a historical turn as they discuss the traditional ways of living, more in line with healthy breathing principles. Nestor remarks on how the modernization of certain simple aspects like posture, daily activities, and underlying stress levels have detracted from optimum breathing. Indigenous cultures, he states, do not grapple with issues like heart diseases, asthma, and posture problems, an insight that suggests that the environment significantly impacts our health and breathing patterns. Nestor concludes by addressing the evolutionary advantage of being able to breathe through the mouth. He explains that while nasal breathing is the healthy option for breathing, mouth breathing serves as a vital backup system when nasal paths are blocked. However, mouth breathing should not be a default as it lacks the filtration, moisture capturing, and nitric oxide production capabilities that the nasal passage provides. Nestor expands on the benefits of nasal breathing, pointing out that the nasal function helps to release a burst of nitric oxide, which can boost the immune system's defenses against viruses. Humming further increases that nitric oxide production, thereby potentially alleviating conditions like rhinitis. He speaks about a device that aids in nose humming, but admits he finds it more pleasurable to hum to a tune he likes. In this discussion, they also explore the topic of common colds and their correlation with breathing habits. Nestor admits that while comprehensive research on breathing and common colds has yet to be conducted, the available scientific evidence provides a strong deduction that nasal breathing can make individuals less susceptible to viruses and bacteria. Speaking about his book that came out during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Nestor iterates the importance of healthy breathing, emphasizing that improved breathing patterns and nasal breathing can significantly aid in rehabilitating people suffering from long COVID and acute COVID cases. He highlights the concerning lack of awareness about healthy breathing, which is rarely discussed even in medical examinations. Nestor vehemently draws attention towards pediatric breathing issues, revealing the astounding accounts of parents whose children suffer due to poor breathing patterns. Discussing the root causes of these issues, Nestor mentions retrognathic facial development, where the face grows backward, closing off airways and inhibiting proper breathing, a problem that did not exist hundreds of years ago. The reason for such developmental changes is attributed to the consumption of industrialized food. Industrialized food requires less chewing, and with less rigorous chewing, the facial musculature does not develop properly, which contributes to poor breathing habits. Moreover, Nestor highlights certain solutions, such as the importance of young children consuming harder to chew foods. He also suggests that breastfeeding for a minimum of 2 years, followed by consumption of adult food that necessitates a lot of chewing, provides a natural solution for poor breathers during childhood. Towards the end of this discourse, the conversation turns towards ADHD, where Nestor presents a correlation between ADHD and unhealthy breathing patterns, especially during sleep. Breathing retraining and maintaining healthy breathing habits have shown significant results in controlling ADHD symptoms, emphasizing once again that the root cause of a multitude of health issues can often be traced back to the simple act of breathing. In the continuation of the conversation between Stephen Bartlett and expert James Nestor, they delve further into the immense potential of proper breathing and the ramifications it has on general health and well-being. They bring to light how intrinsic mechanisms like nitric oxide release and diaphragm functionality impact everyday health, strengthening the immune system's defenses against viruses and alleviating conditions like rhinitis. Nestor makes a strong case for maintaining proper lung health and its direct correlation to a person's overall longevity. He discusses various studies that point to lung size and health as being the primary indicators of lifespan. The potential benefits of having larger lungs include the ability to engage in more physically taxing activities and to stave off health conditions that can be detrimental as one ages. Nestor speaks on the effectiveness of exercises that improve your lung capacity, emphasizing the importance of using that improved capacity effectively when working out. He provides an example of this through yoga and its various poses, which not only physically expand the chest, but also improve the body's ability to take fuller, deeper breaths. Attention is also given to the impact of everyday stress and anxiety on our breathing. Nestor explains how stress prompts a physiological response which results in improper and shallow breathing, creating a negative feedback loop detrimental to our overall health. He suggests that managing this adverse response involves taking conscious control of our breathing, allowing us to hack into our nervous systems and shift from a sympathetic, active flight or fight response to a parasympathetic state, rest and digest response. This shift can significantly reduce stress levels, increase heart rate variability, and improve overall health. Nestor provides a practical exercise, a certain breathing pattern, 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, that can help trigger the parasympathetic response, effectively helping to manage daily stress and anxiety. This simple yet powerful tool has powerful implications for everyday health and well-being, underscoring the critical nature of proper breathing. It's also outlined how, in our modern lives, we have become oversensitized, resulting in reacting stressfully to non-life-threatening situations. This constant state of stress and anxiety leads to shallow, dysfunctional breathing, contributing to long-term health issues. According to Nestor, the benefits of mastering proper breathing techniques are manifold and exceed temporary stress relief. They contribute to overall mental welfare, physical health, and longevity. The conversation drives home the fact that the act of breathing, simple as it may seem, plays a profoundly complex and crucial role in our lives. Once again, healthy breathing emerges as a dominant theme, a force capable of significantly enhancing the quality of our lives. In this part of the podcast, Bartlett and Nestor delve into the relationship between breathing, stress, anxiety, and our nervous system. Nestor explains that acute stress can be controlled quickly through focused breathing, while chronic stress is often associated with poor breathing habits. Holding your breath, he mentions, can have a therapeutic effect training individuals to tolerate more carbon dioxide, which helps calm the body down. The duo further explore the biological responses to stress and how extending our exhale can trick our bodies into relaxing. This is due to the slowing of the heart rate during exhalation, which signals to our body that we are in a safe place and it can relax. This form of hack can easily be validated by wearables like the Whoop strap, which tracks respiratory rate and heart rate variability. Addressing how the modern world has led to an oversensitized population, Nestor emphasizes the negative health implications of shallow, rapid breathing in response to non-threatening stresses. Transitioning into the topic of carbon dioxide, Nestor talks about how maintaining proper levels is essential. The conversation delves into how CO2 levels in environments like schools, offices, and airplanes can impact cognitive and physical health adversely. For instance, environments with CO2 levels from 1500 to 2000 ppm were reported to result in a 50% decrease in cognitive test results. He urges people to demand better ventilation in indoor environments for their health and cognitive functioning. Continuing the discussion on the implications of CO2, our hosts look at the controversial topic of mask wearing amidst the pandemic. Nestor presents a balanced viewpoint, acknowledging the demonstrated potential of masks to reduce virus transmission when worn properly. However, he points out that many wear masks of poor quality and incorrectly, leading to potential health issues. He also offers an intriguing perspective on how carbon dioxide levels can determine the amount of recycled air we inhale, indicating the importance of ventilation in indoor environments. As Nestor mentions, elevated levels of CO2 in indoor spaces could be significantly detrimental to cognitive function and physical well-being. Focusing on the broader picture, Nestor underlines how the modern world in many ways seems to conspire against our health. From the demands of high-stress lifestyles that adulterate our breathing patterns, to the designs of architecture that prevent adequate ventilation and trap us in CO2-dense rooms. Given these revelations, it's evident that a re-examination of our breathing habits and our environments is needed, calling for simple yet significant changes. More than just a survival mechanism, breathing emerges as a tool to hack into our nervous system, manage stress, and improve our overall mental and physical well-being. In this conversation, Bartlett and Nestor discuss the importance of environment and conditions for effective cognitive performances, emphasizing proper ventilation and the right lighting. Nestor talks about how natural light and the surrounding nature boost one's cognitive abilities, emphasizing how CO2 levels and the environment greatly affect one's thinking capabilities. Nestor also comments on how people's cognitive performance could significantly improve by merely changing their environment due to the rise of oxygen levels. They also discuss the practice of holding one's breath, which Nestor refers to as a body oxygen level test or control pause. This method involves timing oneself holding their breath from the point of natural exhalation until they feel the first signs of air hunger, aiming to hold for 40 seconds or more. The practice allows individuals to gauge their breath-holding capacity periodically. The pair also talks about the practice of mouth taping while sleeping as a way of promoting nasal breathing. The conversation brings into focus how mouth taping had significantly improved people's sleep by reducing wake events and increasing sleep efficiency, thereby leading to a restful sleep. Nestor explains how patterns of nasal breathing during sleep affect the brain, pointing out that the brain desires a consistent fluid signal, which it gets from orderly breathing. This pattern is responsible for sound and restful sleep. Furthermore, they delve into common misconceptions about asthma and how taking control of one's breathing can help manage, reduce, or even reverse symptoms. Notably, Nestor clarifies that asthma can be managed or alleviated without lifelong reliance on drugs such as bronchodilators and oral steroids. Interesting points are made regarding the widespread practice of tonsil and adenoid removal, with Nestor emphasizing the importance of identifying the root causes of their inflammation rather than resorting to surgery first. He encourages looking into possible environmental and behavioral factors that could be causing such issues before resorting to invasive measures. Included in the discussion is the ideal rhythm of breathing. Nestor interestingly explains that the perfect rhythm is subjective and depends on the individual to some extent. However, he mentions that a good starting point would be 5 to 6 seconds in and out for an average adult. For tall people with larger lungs, a slower rhythm of around 4.5 breaths per minute is recommended, whereas children are suggested to begin at a faster rate. As the conversation continues, Bartlett and Nestor delve into the realm of powerful breathwork techniques, often compared to psychedelic experiences. They discuss the biological and psychological effects, emphasizing increased control over the nervous system and stress response. Bartlett provides a compelling first-hand account, describing how the breathing exercises led to a heightened clarity in his relationships, seemingly dissolving his ego. These powerful techniques, according to Nestor, surmount to eliciting a stress response, followed by learning to calm oneself down. Describing this process as a way of compacting stress into the exercise, Nestor likens it to going to the gym or taking a cold bath. The idea is to experience a significant amount of stress in a controlled environment to better manage it in everyday life. Interestingly, Nestor offers a scientific perspective on what happens during vigorous breathing exercises. Instead of increased blood flow to the brain as commonly misconceived, Nestor explains that it actually decreases, causing lightheadedness and tingling sensations. Nestor also emphasizes adopting simple practices first before jumping into vigorous techniques. He underlines the importance of treating breathing dysfunction seriously and understanding it as a significant health issue, especially among children. He proposes that improvements in this area can greatly benefit overall health and well-being. Toward the end of the chat, they discuss Nestor's work on a guide to improve breathing conditions, which will dwell into a substantial amount of information that was left out from his book. Nestor states his keen interest in further researching what happens to the brain during vigorous breathing exercises, something he feels hasn't been explored sufficiently. The conversation concludes on an influential note with Bartlett acknowledging the effectiveness of Nestor's book, Breath. His girlfriend even started a breathing clinic called Bali Breathwork, underlining the far-reaching impact of Nestor's work. Nestor leaves his audience with the message highlighting the accessibility of these natural healing methods through breathwork, asserting that we don't necessarily need to pay for them or dive into scientific research to experience their benefits. The primary driver should be curiosity and a willingness to explore one's inner abilities. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of the Pod Slice.